With the year 2023 coming to an end, let us dive into 2024 and make some predictions what might happen in the new year around. 1. Sean Strickland stays champion and defends his belt twice. As of right now, Strickland looks better than he has ever been. After his performance of a lifetime against Adesanya back in September, he faces Du Plessis in January of 2024. Assuming Du Plessis is not in Strickland's head, he could very well beat him. As we know, the UFC, they will probably do anything to give Khamzat a title fight, and if this happens, I still think Sean Strickland stays champion. Reason is that Khamzat is this unstoppable force for like one round and then his cardio seems to fade away. Magomed Ankalaev, the #1 contender in the light heavyweight division, spoke about training with Sean Strickland that he is very hard to control and hold down. I know it's just a sparring session, but if a guy like Ankalaev says this, there is a big likelihood that if Sean survives Khamzat's onslaught in the first round, he will end up winning a decision and end 2024 as the middleweight champion. 2. UFC 300 is not going to be the biggest card of the decade. Currently, it does look that UFC 300 is going to be a decent pay-per-view, but is still far from the legendary status that is associated with an event of this magnitude. As of right now, the card is still developing and it already has some solid fights on it. With Conor out of the picture for headlining, all eyes are now on Alex Pereira versus to be announced as a possible option for a main event. Leon Edwards said in a recent interview he is on the card with no specific opponent pointed out. It's most likely going to be Belal. 3. Ilia Topuria is going to beat Alexander Volkanovski in dominant fashion. Mother Nature gets to everyone, and despite the fact that Volk is probably the greatest featherweight of all time, the odds are for surely stacked against him when he steps the next time in the cage. He is in his mid-30s, coming from a devastating KO loss against Islam, and from his post-fight press conference part, he is probably not in the best mental state right now. Topuria, on the other hand, has the youth, the skills, and all the confidence in the world on his side. It does not matter if the fanbase thinks Topuria is crazy for believing to destroy Volkanovski, as long as he puts in the work and believes it to the point that it becomes reality. 4. Conor McGregor is going to knock out Michael Chandler. With his highly anticipated return coming closer and closer, the fans start to ask if he still has it what it takes to perform inside the octagon. Chandler for sure has the skill set to beat Conor. If he would use his wrestling to grind out McGregor, there would be a high probability that he could beat him. But Michael Chandler has for sure one of the most entertaining fighting styles the fans could ask for. But sadly, also one of the worst fight IQs as well, so there is quite the chance that he decides to go reckless against Conor and finds himself on the wrong end of a viral KO. And to end this prediction video, I predict that Islam Makhachev still ends the year as the lightweight champion. Currently, there is no fight announced for him. It looks like that the UFC will go with Justin Gaethje. Maybe they will fight at the UFC Fight Night on the 2nd of March that is hosted at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The UFC got $20 million for hosting an event there. So it is quite possible that Islam is going to headline the event in his quote-unquote backyard. Despite the fact that Justin has got a good chance on the feet, Islam's underrated striking defense and the fact that Gaethje has a very weak ground game leads to the conclusion that he most likely beats Gaethje. If everything goes well, Islam will headline again in October in Abu Dhabi and face either Charles or Arman. Both guys present unique challenges and dangers for the lightweight champ, but with the momentum on his side and his skill set further growing, it's quite possible that Islam still holds the build at the beginning of 2025.